everyone, welcome to WB Mason Presents The Joe Girardi Show. I'm Meredith Marakovits. That's Joe Girardi over there. I'm driving the show. Joe Girardi's driving the car. We're heading to Citi Field. Joe, this is a little different doing it this time.
Yeah, this is much different. I have to keep my eyes on the road, so we're probably not going to be able to make a lot of eye contact today.
I won't take it personal. You know, you look at this driving time, a lot of times players say this is their time to kind of relax, decompress before the big game. What are you typically doing on the drive?
You know, a lot of times I'll try to catch up on some phone calls, and other times I'll just try to relax and listen to some music, just try to think about what, the lineup's going to be in my head. Those sort of things, last minute things that you want to think about before you put everything together. I
would imagine there's just a ton of numbers floating through your head at all points in time, just trying to figure out what you want to do for the day.
Yeah, there is. And, here in September, obviously there's so many more options. So it just, and a lot of the advantages that you have in the first 5 months of the season, those advantages are gone because of pinch hitters. You think about, if it's a 25-man roster, who you're going to use your lefties against. Well, that doesn't really work today because everyone just pinch hits. So a lot of those advantages that you have, you don't have in the month of September.
You look at all the stats, all the numbers that are available now, and I would have to think they make things easier in one regard, but you also have to know all of them, know what matchups work, what matchups don't work. Is there ever a part of you that wishes it's like it used to be back in the day where you kind of go on a hunch? You say, I think this guy matches up well against this guy, and I'm doing it. Not that there are numbers to support it, but right. I just feel good about it.
Absolutely. And that's kind of what you have to do with some of these September matchups because you don't know the players and there is not a lot of history on these guys. And yeah, I mean, you wouldn't spend so much time looking over as much information. I probably wouldn't need as strong as reading glasses today. Yeah, sometimes you wish you could just do that.
And you mentioned the fact that you like to listen to music.
Right.
What are you usually listening to?
It's usually country music that I listen to. There's a couple on the satellite that I'll listen to, and in New York City I have 94.7, which I enjoy.
Favorite artist?
I have a couple. I really enjoy Florida Georgia Line, Jake Owen. Those are two guys. Kenny Chesney, I think, is really good. But there's so many good country artists now today, and to me, it's a lot like, in a sense, almost what rock and roll used to be. They've gotten pretty rock and roll-y.
Got some fans over there?
Yeah. Yes, obviously people are probably aware that we're in town to play the Mets.
Yeah,
There's
right?
probably a lot of thought process going on today for a lot of fans.
What's it like when people pull up beside of you, they realize it's you? Do you see the look on their face and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Joe Girardi's next to me?
Yeah, I usually just wave back and give them a smile, and then I try to focus on what I'm doing. But, there's some funny fans. Sometimes you worry about, if someone's following you, that sort of thing, but that really never happens for me.
What's the craziest thing that a fan ever did? Not the scariest, but just the craziest that you've ever had happen to you?
I can't really say that I've had that many crazy things. I think one of the most interesting things that I did was I noticed we were driving for about a mile and two people were trying to figure out if it was me. And they kept looking at me and they kept looking at me. And finally I waved at them first. So I took the first step, which I think kind of shocked them and took them aback a little bit. But I just thought I'd have a little fun with it.
I mean, you're the manager of the New York Yankees. I would imagine that when some people come up to you, they're a little starstruck.
Yeah, and I think at times, what you worry about is just kind of taken away from family time, that sort of thing. But sometimes they're really loud, and you're trying to, kind of lay low a little bit, and they're like screaming your name. You're like, shh, just that's great. I'll talk to you, whatever, but I don't want everyone to know that I'm here.
Now, I know you're not a huge social media guy. You say you don't check in on any of that, but fans oftentimes offer their opinions on social media. Do they offer their opinions in person?
Absolutely. I mean, everyone usually has an opinion on what we should do a lot of different times. And, that's part of baseball. I mean, that's the great thing about baseball. Baseball really is a soap opera, is what it is. It's 162 games. People look forward to what time you're on every day. It's 3 hours of their day and sometimes more. That they're going to check in and watch, and they really care. And we have great fans.
What's one of the funniest things a fan has ever said to you as far as a suggestion or a comment?
Well, in today's world, you hear a lot about the bunting, is what you hear. And, all the stats tell you that bunting actually hurts you over the course of the season, scoring runs in a lot of instances. So that's why you don't see it as much. But that's always seems to be the biggest topic.
That and the shift too, I know,
Yes.
especially here in New York with Mark Teixeira. He's been saying for years now, that takes me out of my game. If I bunt or if I try to go the other way, they're essentially getting what they want, and that's me not hitting it out of the ballpark. Now, this year with Mark, it worked. He went over the shift. It didn't matter. But that's something that you hear a lot from these fans too, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, they want hitters to change, and that's not always so easy to do. And when you look at a lot of hitters, their OPS is actually better when they're pulling the ball. They're hitting the ball harder, they're driving the ball, they're more productive. But they're also going to make outs in the shift, opposed to where if they're just trying to hit the ball the other way, they don't hit the ball very hard, they're not very productive. So, once a swing has been tailored, and those are the type of hitters that we've went and gotten, guys, left-handed hitters to pull the ball. We don't want them to try to hit it out to left center because they're not going to be nearly as productive.
One guy that drops down a bunt every now and again, or at least tries to go the other way against the shift every now and again, is Brian McCann. Is that something that he just takes upon himself to say, you know what, maybe I'm going through a little bit of a stretch here, or I see a huge hole there, I'm going to take advantage?
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that's willing to do it and is comfortable doing it. A lot of our hitters are not. So you don't want to ask hitters to do something they're not comfortable doing, because all that's going to happen is they're going to get frustrated, and then they're going to get away from what they do, and then you're not going to have the production.
I think hitters, I think of this Mets series, and I think of one big bat that's not going to be in the lineup, and that's Alex Rodriguez. How difficult is it coming into a National League park, knowing what he's meant to the lineup, just his presence alone, knowing that you're not going to be able to use him?
Well, it is difficult, and it even becomes more difficult when you're facing left-handers, because you're missing a huge right-handed bat out of your lineup. And so it's tough, but it's part of the game, and it's something that we have to deal with, and we've had to deal with it when we went to Atlanta, and we played well there and scored runs, and you just need some other guys to step up.
I guess the positive, though, with Alex would be it seems like every time he has any amount of extended rest, he comes back and really goes on a tear, and you saw that after Atlanta.
Yeah, he went on a home run barrage for us and really started to drive the ball again. So, we're going to give him these 3 days off that we play the Mets, but your hope is for the next 2 weeks he goes crazy.